Right now, someone with half your talent is out-earning you. Someone with half your intelligence is living the life you want. And the reason has nothing to do with luck, connections, or how many hours they work. Harvard spent 10 years and discovered the difference comes down to something you can learn in the next 18 minutes. Something 97% of people will never do. Harvard Business School tracked their MBA graduates for 10 years and discovered something that changed everything we thought we knew about success. The 3% who had clear, written goals earned 10 times more than the other 97% combined. 10 times more. Not 10% more. 10 times. And in the next 18 minutes, you are going to learn exactly what separates that 3% from everyone else. This is not another motivational speech. This is not another list of tips you will forget by tomorrow. What you are about to hear is a proven goal-setting system that has transformed millions of lives. A system developed by Brian Tracy over 40 years of research, tested on more than 1 million people, and refined until it became virtually failure-proof. But here is what most people get wrong. They think goal setting is about writing down what you want and hoping it happens. That is not goal setting. That is wishful thinking. And wishful thinking does not pay the bills. It does not build careers. It does not create the life you deserve. Goals sound nice, but they do not hold you up when you are tired, stressed, or overwhelmed. Systems do. A good system makes your life easier. It helps you move forward without having to think about it every minute. And that is exactly what you are going to build today. You do not rise to the level of your dreams. You fall to the level of your system. And that system is built by what you repeat, not what you say, not what you plan. Let me tell you something that most people never hear. The key to success is single focus. If you can focus, you can do anything. If you cannot focus, you must always work for someone else who will make you focus. This is not an opinion. This is a pattern that shows up in every study of high achievers, every biography of exceptional performers, every analysis of what separates the elite from the average. Now, here's where things get interesting. Most people set goals the wrong way. They look at their present circumstances. They look at their past history. And they allow all of that to dictate what they could do. You cannot do that because you are neurologically creating more of the same. When you let your current situation define your future potential, you are programming your brain to stay exactly where you are. The average person sets vague goals. Maybe they write them down once, on January 1st, and never look at them again. Maybe they keep their goals in their head, floating around with 1,000 other thoughts, never getting the attention they deserve. Maybe they tell themselves they will start tomorrow, or next week, or when the timing is right. Elite performers do something completely different. They write their goals down every single day. They review them. They refine them. They make them specific, measurable, and time-bound. They understand that a goal without a deadline is just a dream. Here is the first elite versus average distinction you need to understand. Average people are interested in their goals. Elite performers are committed to their goals. The difference between interest and commitment is this. If you are interested, you will do what is convenient. You will work on your goals when you feel like it, when the weather is nice, when you have extra time, when everything lines up perfectly. However, if you make the decision to be committed, then you will be able to achieve whatever goals you want to achieve no matter what. You will do everything that is needed to be done in order to achieve success. Committed people do not wait for perfect conditions. They create conditions that lead to success. Let me give you a practical insight right now. There is a direct relationship between how quickly a person takes action on a new idea and how likely it is they will ever take action on any idea at all. If a person takes action quickly on a new idea, the chances they are going to be successful go up by hundreds of percent. Not 10%, not 50%, hundreds of percent. So here's what I want you to understand before we go any further. Your habits are the most honest measure of who you are becoming. They tell the story without needing to explain. And when they are strong, you become unstoppable. Not because of what you want, but because of what you do. Change does not come from wanting something new. It comes from doing something new. You do not need better ideas. You need better patterns. You do not need more inspiration. You need better systems. This is the foundation of everything you are going to learn. Action over motivation. Process over outcome. Systems over goals. Now let me explain why most goal-setting advice fails. It focuses on the wrong thing. It tells you to dream big, to visualize your success, to believe in yourself. And while those things have value, they are not enough. They are not even close to enough. Here is what actually matters. Every single goal that you want to achieve, there is already a blueprint of what you can do and should do, which are the strategies and tactics, and there is a process by which you can follow. Without strategy, you are using hope. And hope, we know, does not yield great results. The goal-setting system you are about to learn has three core components: clarity, action, tracking. These three elements work together to create momentum that becomes impossible to stop. Clarity means knowing exactly what you want. Not vaguely, not approximately, exactly. When your goal is specific, your subconscious mind goes to work helping you find solutions, opportunities, and resources you would never notice otherwise. When your goal is vague, your brain does not know what to look for. It cannot help you because you have not given it clear instructions. Action means doing something every single day toward your major definite purpose. Not thinking about it, not planning it, doing it. All of success in life is task completion. If you do not complete tasks, you have no future. Every single successful person has a reputation for starting and completing important tasks. And here is something powerful. When you complete a task, your brain actually releases endorphins, which gives you an infusion of energy and inspiration. It drives you and motivates you to want to get that feeling again. Task completion is not just productive. It is neurologically rewarding. Tracking means measuring your progress, adjusting your approach, and staying accountable to yourself. Without tracking, you are flying blind. You have no way to know if you are moving forward or just moving. Let me share something that will change how you think about daily action. The elite do not rely on motivation. They rely on routine design. They build daily rituals that make progress automatic. They create sustainable patterns that do not depend on how they feel on any given day. Average people wait until they feel motivated to work on their goals. Elite performers build systems that make motivation irrelevant. Here is another critical distinction. Average people chase outcomes. Elite performers focus on process. They understand that if you get the process right, the outcomes take care of themselves. They measure themselves by what they do, not by what happens to them. This is mental clarity in action, knowing what to focus on, knowing what to ignore, knowing that consistent habits beat occasional heroic efforts every single time. Small wins matter more than you think. Each small win builds confidence. Each completed task creates momentum. Each day of consistent action reinforces your identity as someone who achieves goals. This is identity change in motion. You do not get what you want by talking about it. You get what you want by proving it through your behavior. That is the difference between people who grow and people who stay stuck. Before we move to the next chapter, I want you to do something. And this is not optional if you are serious about transforming your life. Take a piece of paper. Make a list of 10 goals that you would like to achieve in the next 12 months. Do not overthink it. Do not judge it. Just write. This simple act, which takes less than 10 minutes, will put you ahead of 97% of the population. Most people never do this. Most people keep their goals locked in their minds where they cannot be examined, refined, or pursued with precision. Your goals are your North Star. They provide you with focus and a strong sense of direction. But only if they are written, only if they are clear, only if they are connected to daily action. In the next chapter, you are going to learn why written goals are so powerful. You are going to understand the neuroscience behind this simple practice. And you are going to discover why the act of writing triggers something in your subconscious mind that thinking alone never can. Whatever you learn here, vote yourself off the island. No more someday I'll. Either do it or do not do it. The time for waiting is over. The time for action is now. And here is what is coming that will change everything. In Chapter 2, you're going to learn the scientific reason why people who write their goals down are 42% more likely to achieve them. This is not motivation. This is neuroscience. And once you understand it, you will never approach goal setting the same way again. Chapter 2, the power of written goals. 42%. That is how much more likely you are to achieve a goal when you write it down. Not when you think about it. Not when you talk about it. When you physically write it down. Dr. Gail Matthews at Dominican University conducted a study on 267 participants and discovered something that neuroscientists had suspected for decades. The act of writing activates a completely different part of your brain than thinking alone. And here's what makes this even more powerful. Most people know this. They have heard it before. Yet 97% still refuse to do it. They keep their goals floating in their heads, competing with grocery lists and work deadlines and random thoughts about what to watch on television tonight. In the next several minutes, you are going to understand exactly why written goals work at a neurological level. And once you understand the science, you will never go back to mental goal keeping again. Your subconscious mind is the most powerful goal-achieving mechanism ever created. It works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even while you sleep. It processes millions of bits of information and filters out everything except what it believes is relevant to your survival and your goals. But here is the critical insight. Your subconscious mind cannot distinguish between a goal you are serious about and a passing thought you had while stuck in traffic, unless you write it down. When you write a goal, you send a signal to your subconscious mind that says this matters. This is important. Pay attention to this. Start looking for opportunities, resources, and solutions related to this specific outcome. Writing is the bridge between your conscious intentions and your subconscious execution system. Let me give you something practical right now. Write your goals down and develop a plan, a little blueprint. This is not complicated. This is not time-consuming. A simple notebook and 10 minutes of focused attention will transform how your brain processes your ambitions. But there is a specific way to write your goals that makes them dramatically more effective. And this is where most people make a critical mistake. Write your goals in the present tense as if your goal had already been achieved. Do not write, "I want to earn $100,000. Do not write, "I will be healthy and fit." Write, "I earn $100,000 per year." Write, "I am healthy, fit, and full of energy." Why does this matter? Because your subconscious mind can only register commands that are phrased in the present tense. When you write in future tense, your brain interprets the goal as something that exists in some distant, undefined tomorrow. It does not create urgency. It does not activate the neurological focus mechanisms that drive daily behavior. When you write in present tense, something remarkable happens. Your brain notices the gap between your current reality and your stated goal. This gap creates cognitive tension, and your subconscious mind immediately begins working to close that gap. It starts noticing opportunities you would have missed. It starts generating ideas you would not have considered. It starts pulling you toward your goal with a force you cannot consciously explain. This is neurological focus in action. Your brain has a system called the reticular activating system. This system acts as a filter, determining what information reaches your conscious awareness and what gets ignored. When you write a clear, present tense goal, you program your reticular activating system to scan your environment for anything related to that goal. Have you ever decided to buy a specific car and suddenly started seeing that car everywhere? The cars were always there. Your brain just was not looking for them. The same principle applies to opportunities, connections, and resources related to your goals. They exist all around you right now. Your brain is simply not tuned to notice them. Written goals change the frequency your brain is tuned to. Now let me share something that separates elite performers from everyone else. And this might surprise you. The average person writes their goals once. Maybe on January 1st. Maybe when they read a motivating book. Maybe after a particularly frustrating day at work. They write their goals, feel good about themselves, and then put the paper in a drawer where it collects dust for the next 11 months. Elite performers write their goals every single day. Every morning, before they start their work, they take out a fresh piece of paper and rewrite their most important goals. Not copy them. Rewrite them from memory. This daily practice does something powerful. It keeps your goals at the forefront of your conscious mind. It reinforces the neural pathways associated with those goals. It gives your subconscious mind fresh instructions every 24 hours. Brian Tracy has practiced this daily goal-writing ritual for over 30 years. He credits it as one of the single most important habits in his journey from rags to riches. The repetition is not redundant. The repetition is reinforcement. Here is an insight that will change how you think about your beliefs. Your implicit beliefs are what lie underneath. They are what you think about in secret, what you think is true about yourself. All of these implicit underlying beliefs cause your habits and your behavior. When you write your goals daily in present tense, you are not just planning. You are reprogramming. You are overriding the implicit beliefs that have held you back. You are installing new mental software that supports the person you are becoming. This is why precision and clarity matter so much. A vague goal produces vague results. A specific goal produces specific results. When you write, "I want to be successful," your brain does not know what to do with that. Success means different things to different people. It could mean anything. And when a goal could mean anything, it effectively means nothing. But when you write, "I earn $200,000 per year as a senior marketing director at a Fortune 500 company by December 31st of next year," your brain has something concrete to work with. It can start calculating the steps. It can start identifying the skills you need. It can start scanning for the opportunities that match that specific outcome. Let me give you a framework that makes goal writing even more powerful. For each major goal, answer these 5 questions in writing. First, what exactly do I want? Be specific. Use numbers where possible. Describe the outcome in vivid detail. Second, why do I want this? List at least 5 reasons. The more reasons you have, the more motivated you will be when obstacles appear. And obstacles will appear. Third, what is my deadline? A goal without a deadline is just a wish. Set a specific date. Write it down. Make it real. Fourth, what do I need to learn, do, or become to achieve this goal? What skills must you develop? What habits must you build? What version of yourself must you become? Fifth, what is the first action I can take today? Not tomorrow, not next week. Today, right now. What is one thing you can do in the next 24 hours to move toward this goal? When you answer these questions in writing, you transform a vague desire into a concrete plan. You give your subconscious mind the clarity it needs to support you. You create mental clarity that cuts through confusion and procrastination. Now here is the second elite versus average distinction for this chapter. Average people keep their goals private. They are afraid to share them because they are afraid to fail publicly. They think keeping goals secret protects them from embarrassment. Elite performers understand something different. They know that sharing goals with specific people creates accountability. Studies from the American Society of Training and Development found that you have a 65% chance of completing a goal if you commit to someone else. And if you have a specific accountability appointment with that person, your chance of success rises to 95%. 95%. Privacy feels safe, but it often enables failure. Accountability feels uncomfortable, but it dramatically increases success. Choose discomfort. Choose accountability. Choose success. Let me address something important. Some people worry that writing goals makes them too rigid. They fear being locked into something that might change. They want to stay flexible, keep their options open, remain adaptable. Here is the truth. You can always change your goals. You can revise them. You can update them. You can even abandon them if they no longer serve you. Written goals are not prison sentences. They are compass headings. They give you direction while still allowing you to adjust your course as you learn and grow. The danger is not being too committed to the wrong goal. The danger is never committing to any goal at all. The danger is drifting through life reacting to whatever happens instead of proactively creating what you want. Develop the awareness of what your current habits are producing. What is the trigger? What is the routine that you are engaged in right now? What reward are you getting that keeps the loop spinning? When you understand your existing patterns, you can intentionally redesign them to support your written goals. This is habit loops in practice. Every habit has 3 components: a trigger that initiates the behavior, a routine that is the behavior itself, and a reward that reinforces the behavior. When you write your goals and review them daily, you are creating a new habit loop. The trigger is your morning routine. The routine is writing your goals. The reward is the mental clarity and confidence that follows. Here is your action step for this chapter. Tonight, before you go to sleep, write down your single most important goal. Write it in present tense, as if you have already achieved it. Be specific. Include numbers if relevant. Include a deadline. Tomorrow morning, Before you check your phone, before you read the news, before you do anything else, rewrite that same goal from memory. Do this every day for the next 30 days. By the end of that period, you will have programmed your subconscious mind so deeply that achieving this goal will feel almost inevitable. This is not motivation. This is neuroscience. This is how your brain actually works. And now you know how to use it. But here is what you need to understand next. Writing goals is essential, but it is not enough. There is a mental trap that catches millions of people, keeps them stuck for years, and prevents them from ever taking real action. It is called someday I'll. And if you do not escape it, all the written goals in the world will not save you. In the next chapter, you're going to learn exactly what someday I'll is, why it is so dangerous, and the specific mindset shift that allows you to escape it forever. This is where commitment separates from interest. This is where dreams become reality. And this is where your transformation truly begins. Chapter 3. Escape Someday I'll. There is an island where dreams go to die. Millions of people live there. They have been living there for years, decades even, and most of them do not even know they are trapped. The island is called Someday I'll. And if you have ever said the words someday I will, you have been there too. Someday I will start that business. Someday I will get in shape. Someday I will write that book. Someday I will have that difficult conversation. Someday I will finally pursue what I really want. Someday I'll is the most crowded place on earth. And it is also the most dangerous. Because someday never comes. Someday is not a day of the week. It is not on any calendar. It is a lie we tell ourselves to avoid the discomfort of action. In the next several minutes, you are going to learn how to escape someday I'll forever. You are going to understand the psychology that keeps people trapped there. And you are going to make a decision that will separate you from the 97% who spend their entire lives waiting for the perfect moment that never arrives. Let me tell you the number one mistake that people make when setting their goals. They look at their present circumstances. They look at their bank account. They look at their current job title. They look at their education, their age, their connections, their resources. And they allow all of the present circumstances or their past history to dictate what they could do. You cannot do that. Because when you let your current reality define your future possibility, you are neurologically creating more of the same. Your brain is wired to seek consistency. It wants to prove itself right. When you believe your circumstances limit you, your brain will find evidence to support that belief. It will filter out opportunities. It will dismiss possibilities. It will keep you exactly where you are. This is present circumstances bias in action. It is one of the most destructive mental patterns that exists. And breaking free from it requires a fundamental shift in how you think about yourself and your potential. Here is the truth that most people never accept. Your current situation is not your final destination. It is just your current location. Where you are today has nothing to do with where you can be tomorrow, next year, or 5 years from now. The only thing that determines your future is the decisions you make and the actions you take starting right now. But here's where it gets interesting. There is a direct relationship between how quickly a person takes action on a new idea and how likely it is they will ever take action on any idea at all. Read that again. Let it sink in. If a person takes action quickly on a new idea, the chances they are going to be successful go up by hundreds of percent. Not a little bit. Hundreds of percent. Speed of implementation is one of the strongest predictors of success that researchers have ever identified. Why? Because action creates momentum. Action creates evidence. Action rewires your brain to see yourself as someone who does things rather than someone who thinks about doing things. Every time you act quickly, you strengthen the neural pathways associated with execution. Every time you delay, you strengthen the pathways associated with hesitation. This brings us to the most important distinction in this entire chapter: the difference between interest and commitment. The difference between interest and commitment is this. If you are interested in achieving a goal, you will do what is convenient. You will work on it when you feel like it, when you have spare time, when the conditions are right, when you are motivated, when nothing else is competing for your attention. However, if you make the decision to be committed, then you will be able to achieve whatever goals you want to achieve no matter what. You will do everything that is needed to be done in order to achieve success. Committed people do not wait for motivation. They do not wait for inspiration. They do not wait for the stars to align. Commitment means you act regardless of how you feel. Commitment means you show up on the days you do not want to show up. Commitment means you do the work when it is hard, when it is boring, when it is uncomfortable, when every part of you wants to quit. Let me give you a practical test to determine whether you are interested or committed. Ask yourself this question: what have I done in the last 7 days to move toward my most important goal? Not what have you thought about. Not what have you planned. Not what have you talked about. What have you actually done? What concrete action have you taken? What task have you completed? If your answer is nothing or almost nothing, you are interested. You are not committed. And until that changes, you will remain a permanent resident of Someday I'll. Here is the first elite versus average distinction for this chapter. Average people wait until they feel ready to take action. They believe readiness is a prerequisite for action. They think they need more information, more preparation, more confidence, more certainty before they can begin. Elite performers understand that readiness comes from action, not before it. You do not feel ready and then act. You act and then start to feel ready. Confidence is not the cause of action. Confidence is the result of action. You build it by doing things before you feel prepared to do them. This is action over motivation. This is the mindset that separates the 3% from everyone else. Stop waiting to feel ready. Start acting now. Let readiness catch up with you. Now let me share something that will help you understand why Someday I'll is so seductive. Why millions of intelligent, capable people stay trapped there for years. Someday I'll feels safe. When your goals exist only in the future, they cannot fail in the present. When you never try, you never have to face rejection. When you keep your dreams in the someday category, you protect yourself from the pain of falling short. But this safety is an illusion. The pain you are avoiding by not acting is nothing compared to the pain you will feel at the end of your life when you realize you never really tried. Regret is the most expensive emotion there is. It costs you years. It costs you opportunities. It costs you the person you could have become. Breaking comfort zones is not just about achievement. It is about becoming who you are capable of being. Every time you step outside your comfort zone, you expand it. Every time you do something that scares you, you prove to yourself that you are braver than you thought. Every time you act despite fear, you weaken fear's grip on your future. Set a goal that actually scares you a little bit. That is good, not bad. If your goals do not make you slightly uncomfortable, they are not big enough. They are not stretching you. They are not forcing you to grow. A goal that fits perfectly inside your current comfort zone is not a goal. It is a maintenance plan. Here is your action orientation test. Think about the most important goal you identified in the last chapter. Now ask yourself, what is the smallest possible action I could take toward that goal in the next 24 hours? Not the biggest action, not the perfect action, the smallest. Maybe it is a phone call. Maybe it is an email. Maybe it is 15 minutes of research. Maybe it is 1 page of writing. Maybe it is 1 conversation. Whatever it is, do it today, not tomorrow, not when you have more time. Today, because that small action will do something that all the planning in the world cannot do. It will prove to your brain that you are serious. It will shift your identity from someone who thinks about goals to someone who pursues them. This leads to the second elite versus average comparison. Average people overplan and underexecute. They spend weeks creating the perfect strategy. They research every possible approach. They wait until they have complete information before making any move. And while they are planning, time passes. Momentum dies. Motivation fades. And the goal quietly migrates back to Someday I'll. Elite performers follow a different formula. Ready, fire, aim. They take action first, then adjust based on feedback. They understand that you learn more from 1 day of execution than from 1 month of planning. They know that imperfect action beats perfect inaction every single time. Planning feels productive, but it is often just a sophisticated form of procrastination. It gives you the illusion of progress without the risk of failure. And that is exactly why it is so dangerous. Here is something powerful to understand. Action creates clarity. When you are confused about what to do next, the answer is not more thinking. The answer is more doing. Take 1 step. Any step. The next step will reveal itself only after you have taken the first one. Most people have it backwards. They want clarity before action, but clarity comes from action. You cannot think your way to a new life. You have to act your way there. Let me give you a framework for escaping someday, permanently. It is called the 24-hour rule. Whenever you set a new goal or learn a new strategy, you must take at least one action toward it within 24 hours. No exceptions. No excuses. This rule does two things. First, it creates immediate momentum. Second, it trains your brain to associate new ideas with immediate action rather than future consideration. Over time, this becomes automatic. You stop being someone who thinks about doing things and become someone who does things. Focus only on today. Ask yourself, what can I take care of today? Not this week. Not this month. Today. The person who wins is not the person with the best 10-year plan. It is the person who executes best today, then does the same thing tomorrow, then the day after that. This is daily alignment. Making sure that what you do today is connected to what you want to achieve ultimately. Every day is either a step toward your goal or a step away from it. There is no neutral. There is no standing still. You are either building momentum or losing it. Here is your call to action for this chapter. Whatever you learn here, vote yourself off the island. No more someday I'll. Either do it or do not do it. Make a decision right now. Are you interested or are you committed? If you are committed, prove it. Take out your phone. Set a timer for 10 minutes. And in those 10 minutes, take one concrete action toward your most important goal. Send that email. Make that call. Write that first paragraph. Register for that course. Schedule that meeting. Do not wait until you finish this audiobook. Do not wait until tomorrow morning. Do not wait until the timing is better. The timing will never be perfect. The conditions will never be ideal. The only moment you have is this one. Start with your next move. Ask yourself, what does a better life require from me right now? Not someday. Right now? What is the one thing I have been avoiding that would make the biggest difference? That thing you just thought of. That is your exit ticket from someday I'll. And the only question that matters is whether you will use it. In the next chapter, you are going to learn about the major definite purpose. This is the concept that transforms scattered effort into focused power. It is the difference between a flashlight and a laser beam. A flashlight spreads light in all directions and illuminates a small area weakly. A laser focuses light into a single point and can cut through steel. Right now, most people's goals are flashlights. Scattered, diffused, weak. You are about to learn how to turn your goals into a laser. And when you do, obstacles that seemed impossible will start to melt away. But first, you have to prove you have left someday I'll behind. Take that action. Do it now. Then come back for chapter 4. Because what you are about to learn only works for people who have made the shift from interest to commitment. Only works for people who are ready to focus like they have never focused before. Chapter 4. The major definite purpose. 83% of the population has no clear goals at all. Of the 17% who do, only 3% have written them down. And of that 3%, less than 1% have what Brian Tracy calls a major definite purpose. A single, crystal clear objective that dominates their thinking and drives their daily actions. That 1% earns more, achieves more, and lives more fulfilling lives than everyone else combined. In this chapter, you are going to learn how to identify your major definite purpose. You are going to understand why single focus is the ultimate competitive advantage. And you are going to discover why trying to pursue multiple goals with equal intensity is the fastest path to achieving none of them. Remember the analogy from the end of the last chapter. A flashlight versus a laser. A flashlight spreads light across a wide area. It illuminates everything a little bit, but nothing intensely. A laser concentrates light into a single focused beam. That concentrated energy can cut through steel, perform surgery, and travel to the moon. Most people's goals are flashlights. They want to lose weight and start a business and learn a new language and improve their relationships and travel more and read more books and advance their career and save more money. They spread their energy across a dozen different objectives. And at the end of the year, they have made marginal progress in many areas, but significant progress in none. The key to success is single focus. If you can focus, you can do anything. If you cannot focus, you must always work for someone else who will make you focus. This is not an opinion. This is a pattern that appears in every study of exceptional achievement, every biography of world-class performers, every analysis of what separates the elite from the average. Your major definite purpose is the one goal that matters most. The one achievement that would make the biggest difference in your life. The one outcome that, if you accomplished it, would make many of your other goals either easier to achieve or irrelevant entirely. Here is how to identify it. Ask yourself this question. If you could only accomplish one goal in the next 12 months, which one would have the greatest positive impact on your life? Not which one would be nice to achieve. Not which one sounds impressive. Which one would fundamentally change your circumstances. Which one would create momentum that carries into every other area. For some people, it is a financial goal. Reaching a specific income level that eliminates financial stress and opens new possibilities. For others, it is a health goal. Reaching a level of fitness that gives them energy, confidence, and longevity. For others, it is a career goal. Landing a position that provides meaning, growth, and security. Whatever it is for you, that is your major definite purpose. And once you identify it, everything changes. Here is the first elite versus average distinction for this chapter. Average people treat all their goals as equally important. They spread their attention across multiple objectives, believing that progress in many areas is better than progress in one. They feel guilty if they focus too much on one thing because it means neglecting others. Elite performers understand the power of sequential focus. They identify their major definite purpose and pour their energy into it until it is achieved. Then they move to the next priority. They know that concentrated effort over a focused period produces far greater results than scattered effort over an extended period. This is not about having only one goal ever. It is about having one primary goal now. One objective that receives the majority of your attention, energy, and resources while everything else takes a supporting role. Let me explain why this works at a neurological level. Your brain has limited capacity for focused attention. Cognitive scientists call this bandwidth. When you try to pursue multiple goals simultaneously, you split your bandwidth. Each goal gets a fraction of your mental resources, and a fraction of your resources produces a fraction of the results. But when you channel all your bandwidth toward a single objective, something powerful happens. Your reticular activating system locks onto that target with full intensity. Your subconscious mind works on it around the clock. Your brain starts making connections, generating ideas, and spotting opportunities at a rate that scattered focus can never match. This is mental clarity at its highest level. Knowing exactly what you want. Knowing exactly what to focus on. Knowing exactly what to say no to. And that last part is critical. Your major definite purpose is as much about what you do not pursue as what you do pursue. Every time you say yes to something that is not your primary objective, you are saying no to your major definite purpose. Every hour spent on a secondary goal is an hour stolen from your most important work. Elite performers are ruthless about this. They protect their focus like it is their most valuable asset. Because it is. Now let me share something that will help you maintain single focus when distractions pull at you. Precision and clarity are your weapons against distraction. The more precisely you define your major definite purpose, the easier it becomes to recognize what supports it and what detracts from it. Vague goals create vague boundaries. Precise goals create clear boundaries. Here is an example. Compare these two goal statements. First statement, I want to be more successful in my career. Second statement, I will be promoted to Senior Director of Marketing at my current company, earning $175,000 annually by December 31st of next year. The first statement is a wish. The second is a major definite purpose. The first provides no guidance for daily decisions. The second makes it immediately clear what matters and what does not. When an opportunity arises, you can ask yourself a simple question. Does this move me toward my major definite purpose or away from it? If it does not clearly support your primary objective, the answer is no. Not maybe. Not later. No. This kind of clarity transforms decision-making. Instead of weighing complex trade-offs for every choice, you have a simple filter. Does it help or hurt my major definite purpose? This is precision and clarity in action. Let me give you a framework for strengthening your single focus every day. It is called the Power Hour, and it works like this. Every morning, before you do anything else, dedicate the first 60 minutes of your workday exclusively to your major definite purpose. No email, no meetings, no administrative tasks, no interruptions. Just focused work on the one thing that matters most. During this hour, you accomplish more meaningful progress than most people achieve in an entire day. Why? Because you are operating with full cognitive bandwidth, fresh mental energy, and zero distractions. You are wielding a laser, not a flashlight. Protect this hour ruthlessly. Treat it as a non-negotiable appointment with your future self. When someone asks for a meeting during this time, the answer is no. When an email seems urgent, it can wait. When a distraction pulls at your attention, remind yourself that this hour is sacred. Over time, this single practice will transform your results. One focused hour per day equals 7 hours per week, 30 hours per month, 360 hours per year. That is the equivalent of 9 40-hour work weeks of pure, concentrated effort on your most important objective. 9 weeks of laser focus that most people never accumulate in their entire lives. Here is the second elite versus average comparison. Average people let their environment dictate their focus. They react to whatever seems most urgent. They check email first thing in the morning and let other people's priorities hijack their day. They feel busy but make little progress on what actually matters. Elite performers design their environment to support their major definite purpose. They create physical spaces that minimize distraction. They establish routines that protect their best hours for their best work. They understand that willpower is limited, but environmental design is powerful. Your environment is either pushing you toward your goal or pulling you away from it. There is no neutral. Look around you right now. What in your environment supports your major definite purpose? What undermines it? What changes could you make to tilt the balance in your favor? This is routine design applied to focus. Building systems that make single focus easier and distraction harder. Not relying on motivation or discipline alone, but engineering your surroundings to support the behavior you want. Now let me address a common concern. Some people worry that single focus means becoming unbalanced. They fear that pursuing one goal intensely will damage other areas of their life. Health will suffer while they build a business. Relationships will suffer while they advance their career. Here is the truth. Lack of focus creates imbalance. Single focus creates efficiency. When you are scattered across multiple goals, everything takes longer. You spend more hours working but accomplish less. You are physically present with family but mentally absent, still thinking about the dozen things competing for your attention. When you have a major definite purpose and pursue it with concentrated intensity, you get it done faster. You achieve your objective more quickly, freeing up time and energy for everything else. You are fully present when you are with family because your mind is not scattered across unfinished goals. Focus does not create imbalance. Focus resolves it. Here is something powerful about what happens when you commit to a major definite purpose. The major obstacles to success always lie within the mind of the individual. They are not contained in external circumstances or situations or people. By building self-confidence, you win the inner battle. The outer battle seems to take care of itself. When you have absolute clarity about what you want, self-confidence grows automatically. You stop second-guessing yourself. You stop wondering if you are on the right path. You stop wasting energy on indecision. That mental energy gets redirected into action, and action produces results, and results build more confidence. This is a virtuous cycle that begins with single focus. Clarity creates confidence. Confidence creates action. Action creates results. Results create more clarity, and the cycle accelerates. Here is your action step for this chapter. Right now, identify your major definite purpose. Write down the one goal that would make the biggest difference in your life over the next 12 months. Make it specific. Include numbers. Include a deadline. Then ask yourself this question: what would I need to stop doing in order to pursue this goal with full intensity? What activities, commitments, or distractions are currently stealing bandwidth from my major definite purpose? Be honest. Be ruthless. The things you need to eliminate are often the things that feel productive but are not truly important. Meetings that could be emails, projects that are interesting but not essential, habits that fill time but do not move you forward. Building a major definite purpose is not just about adding something to your life. It is about subtracting everything that does not support it. In the next chapter, you're going to learn the framework that makes your major definite purpose achievable. It is called systems over goals, and it will completely change how you think about success. You have heard that goals are important, but you are about to discover that goals without systems are just wishes with deadlines. The system is what makes the goal inevitable, and building that system is easier than you think. But here is the key. Systems only work when they are built around a single clear objective. Now that you have your major definite purpose, you are ready to construct the system that will make it unstoppable. Chapter 5: Systems over Goals. Every January, 100 million Americans set New Year's resolutions. By February, 80% have already failed. By December, 92% never achieve what they set out to accomplish. And here is the part that nobody talks about. These are not lazy people. These are not unmotivated people. These are people who genuinely wanted to change. They had clear goals. They had strong intentions. They had every reason to succeed. So why did they fail? Because they had goals but no systems. And goals without systems are just wishes with deadlines. In this chapter, you are going to learn the most important distinction in the entire science of achievement. You are going to understand why systems beat goals every single time. And you are going to discover how to build sustainable patterns that make success automatic rather than accidental. Here is the truth that changed everything for me. Goals sound nice, but they do not hold you up when you are tired, stressed, or overwhelmed. Systems do. A good system makes your life easier. It helps you move forward without having to think about it every minute. A goal tells you what you want. A system tells you how to get it. A goal is a destination. A system is the vehicle that takes you there. You can have the clearest goal in the world, but if you do not have a system to pursue it daily, that goal will remain forever out of reach. Conversely, if you build a powerful system, you will achieve things you never even explicitly set as goals. The system is what matters. The system is what produces results. Let me make this concrete. Imagine two people who both want to write a book. The first person sets a goal. I will write a book this year. They feel motivated. They tell their friends. They imagine the finished product, but they have no system. They write when they feel inspired. They skip days when life gets busy. They wait for the perfect conditions that never arrive. The second person builds a system. Every morning from 6 to 7, I write 1,000 words. No exceptions. No negotiations. The alarm goes off and they write. Whether they feel like it or not. Whether the words are good or not. Whether inspiration strikes or not. At the end of the year, the first person has fragments, scattered chapters, abandoned drafts, maybe 10,000 words spread across multiple false starts. The second person has 365,000 words, multiple complete manuscripts, a body of work that would take the first person decades to accumulate. Same goal, completely different outcomes. The difference is the system. Here is a principle that will transform how you think about success. You do not rise to the level of your dreams. You fall to the level of your system. And that system is built by what you repeat, not what you say, not what you plan. Read that again. Let it sink in. Your outcomes are not determined by the goals you set. They are determined by the systems you follow. Your results are not a product of your intentions. They are a product of your habits. This brings us to the first elite versus average distinction in this chapter. Average people are goal-obsessed. They focus on the outcome they want to achieve. They measure themselves by how close they are to the finish line. When progress is slow, they get discouraged. When obstacles appear, they question whether the goal is right for them. Their motivation rises and falls with their perceived proximity to success. Elite performers are process-focused. They focus on the daily actions that lead to the outcome. They measure themselves by whether they executed their system today. When progress is slow, they trust the process. When obstacles appear, they adjust their system without abandoning their direction. Their motivation stays stable because it is tied to daily execution, not distant outcomes. This is the fundamental mindset shift. Stop asking whether you are achieving your goal. Start asking whether you are executing your system. If you execute your system consistently, the goal will take care of itself. If you focus only on the goal, you will constantly be disappointed by the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Now let me explain the mechanics of how systems work. Every system is built on habit loops, and every habit loop has three components: a trigger that initiates the behavior, a routine that is the behavior itself, and a reward that reinforces the behavior. Understanding habit loops gives you power over your own behavior. When you want to build a new habit, you design all three components intentionally. When you want to break an old habit, you identify the loop and disrupt it strategically. Here is an example. Let us say you want to build a daily exercise habit. The trigger could be placing your workout clothes next to your bed before you sleep. When you wake up, the first thing you see is a visual cue that reminds you of your intended behavior. The routine is the workout itself. Start small, maybe just 10 minutes. Make it so easy that you cannot say no. You can always do more once you start, but the goal is to make starting automatic. The reward could be a protein shake you enjoy, a few minutes of your favorite podcast, or simply checking off a box on a habit tracker. The reward must come immediately after the routine to strengthen the neurological association. Over time, this loop becomes automatic. The trigger fires, the routine executes, the reward reinforces. You stop needing willpower because the behavior has become wired into your brain. This is how sustainable patterns are built. Here is something critical to understand. Develop the awareness of what is the trigger, what is the routine that you are engaged in right now. Most people operate on autopilot. They do not realize that their current habits, both good and bad, are running on loops they never consciously designed. When you bring awareness to your existing loops, you gain the power to redesign them. You can keep the trigger but change the routine. You can keep the routine but change the reward. You can interrupt the loop entirely and install something new in its place. This is routine design at its core. Not hoping you will change. Not willing yourself to change. Engineering the specific mechanisms that produce change automatically. Let me share the second elite versus average comparison. Average people rely on motivation to drive their behavior. They wait until they feel like doing something before they do it. When motivation is high, they make progress. When motivation fades, they stall. Their results fluctuate wildly based on their emotional state. Elite performers rely on consistent habits instead. They build systems that operate regardless of how they feel. They understand that motivation is unreliable, but systems are dependable. They design their lives so that progress happens even on the days when motivation is nowhere to be found. This is action over motivation in its purest form. You do not wait to feel motivated. You act, and motivation follows. You do not wait for inspiration. You show up, and inspiration finds you. The system creates the conditions for motivation rather than waiting for motivation to create action. Here is a practical framework for building systems that stick. It is called the habit stack, and it works by attaching new behaviors to existing ones. You already have dozens of habits that run automatically every day. You wake up. You brush your teeth. You make coffee. You check your phone. You commute to work. These existing habits are anchors you can use to attach new behaviors. The formula is simple. After I do current habit, I will do new behavior. After I pour my morning coffee, I will write my goals for 5 minutes. After I sit down at my desk, I will identify my 3 most important tasks. After I finish lunch, I will take a 10-minute walk. After I put my children to bed, I will read for 20 minutes. By stacking new habits onto existing anchors, you eliminate the need to remember or decide. The existing habit becomes the trigger for the new one. Over time, the entire stack runs automatically, like a chain of dominoes falling in sequence. This brings us to something profound. The real purpose of systems is not just to achieve goals. It is to change your identity. Your habits are the most honest measure of who you are becoming. They tell the story without needing to explain. And when they are strong, you become unstoppable. Not because of what you want, but because of what you do. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you want to become. Every time you execute your system, you cast a vote for your new identity. Every time you skip your system, You cast a vote for your old identity. The person with the most votes wins. This is identity change through action. You do not become a writer by wanting to write. You become a writer by writing. You do not become healthy by wanting to be healthy. You become healthy by doing healthy things. You do not become successful by setting success goals. You become successful by building success systems. Change does not come from wanting something new. It comes from doing something new. You do not need better ideas. You need better patterns. You do not need more inspiration. You need better systems. Let me give you the third elite versus average distinction. Average people talk about their goals. They share their intentions on social media. They tell everyone about what they are going to do. They get a dopamine hit from announcing their plans and mistake that feeling for actual progress. Elite performers prove their goals through behavior. You do not get what you want by talking about it. You get what you want by proving it through your behavior. That is the difference between people who grow and people who stay stuck. Talk is cheap. Systems are evidence. When you execute your system daily, you do not need to tell anyone about your goals. Your results will speak for you. Your transformation will be visible. Your success will be undeniable. Here is how to apply everything you have learned in this chapter. First, identify the daily behaviors that would make your major, definite purpose inevitable. If you executed these behaviors every day without fail, what would happen? You would achieve your goal. It would be mathematically certain. Second, design the habit loops for each behavior. What will be the trigger? What exactly is the routine? What reward will reinforce it? Third, stack these new habits onto existing anchors in your day. Create a chain of behaviors that runs automatically from morning to night. Fourth, focus on execution, not outcomes. Measure yourself by whether you ran your system today. Did you execute the habits? Yes or no? If yes, you won the day regardless of what results appeared. If no, you lost the day regardless of what excuses you have. Build patterns that feel natural, not forced. Start so small that resistance is impossible. A system you can execute consistently beats a perfect system you abandon after a week. Here is the key insight. Small wins compound into massive results. Every day you execute your system, you build momentum. Every completed task releases endorphins that make you want to complete more tasks. Every successful habit loop strengthens the neural pathway, making the next execution easier. This is the power of consistent habits. They do not just add up, they multiply. A 1% improvement every day does not make you 37% better after a year. It makes you 37 times better. That is the mathematics of compounding applied to personal development. Most people overestimate what they can achieve in a week and underestimate what they can achieve in a year of consistent daily action. They want dramatic results immediately. They do not understand that sustainable patterns, executed relentlessly, produce results that dramatic efforts never can. Here is your action step. Take your major definite purpose from the last chapter and identify 3 daily habits that would make it inevitable. Just 3, not 10, not 7. 3. Then design the habit loop for each one. Write down the trigger. Write down the exact routine. Write down the reward. Finally, identify where in your existing daily routine you can stack these new habits. What anchor will you attach each one to? Do this now. Do not wait until you finish the audiobook. The person who builds their system today will be miles ahead of the person who merely learns about systems. In the next chapter, you're going to learn how to organize your system into a 90-day blueprint. This is where everything becomes concrete, where daily habits connect to weekly milestones, where weekly milestones connect to monthly targets, where monthly targets connect to quarterly transformations. 90 days is the perfect planning window, long enough to achieve something meaningful, short enough to maintain urgency and focus, long enough to build sustainable patterns, short enough to adjust quickly when circumstances change. You have your major definite purpose. You understand systems over goals. Now it is time to build the blueprint that brings it all together. The blueprint that transforms abstract ambition into concrete daily action. The blueprint that makes your success not just possible, but predictable. Chapter 6. The 90-Day Blueprint. 12 months is too long. 1 week is too short. The human brain cannot maintain focused intensity on a goal that exists a year in the future. The deadline feels abstract. The urgency dissolves. Procrastination sets in because there is always tomorrow, always next week, always next month. But 90 days changes everything. 90 days is long enough to achieve something meaningful. You can transform your body in 90 days. You can build a significant skill in 90 days. You can launch a business, complete a major project, or fundamentally change your financial situation in 90 days. At the same time, 90 days is short enough to maintain urgency. You can see the finish line. Every week matters. Every day counts. There is no room for the comfortable procrastination that year-long goals invite. In this chapter, you're going to learn how to build a 90-day blueprint that transforms your major definite purpose from an abstract goal into a concrete daily action plan. You're going to understand the framework that elite performers use to achieve in one quarter what most people struggle to accomplish in an entire year. And you're going to walk away with a system so clear that you will know exactly what to do tomorrow morning when you wake up. Here is a truth that most people never learn. Every single goal that you want to achieve, there is already a blueprint of what you can do and should do, which are the strategies and tactics, and there is a process by which you can follow. Without strategy, you are using hope. And hope, we know, does not yield great results. This is the STP framework. Strategy, tactics, process. These three elements turn vague ambitions into predictable outcomes. Strategy is the overall approach. It answers the question of what must happen for this goal to be achieved. If your goal is to double your income, your strategy might be to develop a high-value skill, position yourself as an expert, and attract premium clients. Strategy is the 30,000-foot view. Tactics are the specific actions within each strategy. They answer the question of how you will execute. If your strategy is to develop a high-value skill, your tactics might include enrolling in a specific certification program, practicing for 2 hours daily, and finding a mentor who has mastered that skill. Tactics are the ground-level details. Process is the daily system that executes the tactics. It answers the question of when and in what sequence. Process turns tactics into calendar entries, morning routines, and evening rituals. Process is what actually gets done. Most people have vague strategies, no tactics, and random processes. They know what they want, but have no blueprint for achieving it. They wing it. They improvise. They hope things work out. Elite performers reverse engineer everything. They start with the 90-day outcome, work backwards to monthly milestones, break those into weekly targets, and distill those into daily actions. Nothing is left to chance. Nothing is left to motivation. Everything is planned. Let me walk you through exactly how to build your 90-day blueprint. Step 1. Define your 90-day outcome. What will be true at the end of 90 days that is not true today? Be specific. Use numbers. Make it measurable. I will have increased my monthly income from $5,000 to $8,000. I will have lost 20 pounds and be exercising 5 days per week. I will have completed the first draft of my book, totaling 60,000 words. This outcome should be directly connected to your major definite purpose from Chapter 4. It should represent significant progress toward your ultimate goal. 90 days from now, you should be dramatically closer to who you want to become. Step 2. Identify your monthly milestones. Divide your 90-day outcome into 3 monthly targets. What must be accomplished by the end of month 1 to be on track? What about month 2? What about month 3? If your 90-day goal is to lose 20 pounds, your monthly milestones might be 7 pounds in month 1, 7 pounds in month 2, and 6 pounds in month 3. If your goal is to write 60,000 words, your milestones might be 15,000 in month 1 as you build momentum, 20,000 in month 2, and 25,000 in month 3 as your skills sharpen. Monthly milestones give you checkpoints. They let you know whether you are on track or falling behind. They create intermediate deadlines that maintain urgency even in the middle of your 90-day sprint. Step 3. Break down into weekly targets. For each monthly milestone, identify what must happen each week. For weeks per month, what is the weekly output that will guarantee you hit your monthly number? If you need to write 15,000 words in month 1, that is approximately 3,750 words per week. If you need to lose 7 pounds in month 1, you need to be losing about 1.7 pounds per week. Weekly targets transform monthly milestones into manageable chunks. They give you something to aim for every 7 days. They create a rhythm of achievement that builds momentum. Step 4. Create your daily action list. This is where the blueprint becomes real. What specific actions, performed daily, will guarantee you hit your weekly targets? Daily planning is the foundation of all achievement. Without it, you drift. With it, you advance. The few minutes you spend each evening or morning planning your day will return hours of productive time. The clarity alone is worth the investment. Here is the first elite versus average distinction for this chapter. Average people start their day without a plan. They react to whatever comes at them. They check email first thing and let other people's priorities hijack their morning. They feel busy but make little meaningful progress. At the end of the day, they cannot point to concrete accomplishments that move them toward their goals. Elite performers plan their day before it begins. They know exactly what they will accomplish before they start working. They protect their most important tasks from distraction and interruption. They end each day with a clear record of completed work that connects directly to their 90-day outcome. The difference is not talent or intelligence. The difference is daily planning. 5 minutes of planning prevents 5 hours of wasted effort. Here is a powerful framework for daily planning. It is called the Rule of 3. Every day, identify 3 important tasks that you will complete no matter what. Not 10 tasks. Not a massive to-do list. 3. These 3 tasks should be directly connected to your weekly targets. They should move you measurably closer to your 90-day outcome. They should be specific enough that you know exactly when they are done. When you complete these 3 tasks, you have won the day. Anything else you accomplish is bonus. But these 3 are non-negotiable. They happen regardless of meetings, emergencies, distractions, or how you feel. Here is something that will change how you think about productivity. All of success in life is task completion. If you do not complete tasks, you have no future. This is not an exaggeration. This is the literal truth. Your income, your reputation, your advancement, your results are all determined by your ability to complete important tasks. Every single successful person has a reputation for starting and completing important tasks. Think about the people you admire. The people who have achieved what you want to achieve. They are finishers. They ship. They deliver. They complete. And here is something powerful about task completion. When you complete a task, your brain actually releases endorphins. This gives you an infusion of energy and inspiration. It drives you and motivates you to want to get that feeling again. Task completion is not just productive. It is neurologically rewarding. This is why small wins matter so much. Each completed task releases endorphins. Each endorphin release makes you want to complete another task. Momentum builds. Energy increases. What started as effortful becomes enjoyable. The daily action list harnesses this neurological reward system. By identifying 3 important tasks each day and completing them, you create a daily cycle of achievement, reward, and motivation. Over 90 days, this cycle runs hundreds of times, building an identity as someone who starts and finishes what matters. Let me share the second elite versus average distinction. Average people measure themselves by time spent. They worked 8 hours. They were busy all day. They put in the effort. But they cannot point to specific outcomes that resulted from that time. Busyness becomes a substitute for effectiveness. Elite performers measure themselves by tasks completed. They do not care how long something takes. They care whether it got done. They track completion, not hours. They celebrate finished work, not filled calendars. They know that a focused 3-hour sprint that completes important tasks beats an unfocused 10-hour day that accomplishes nothing meaningful. This is action orientation in its purest form. Not motion. Action. Not activity. Accomplishment. Not effort. Results. Now let me give you a template for your daily planning ritual. This takes less than 10 minutes and transforms your entire day. Every evening, before you finish work, do the following. First, review your 3 tasks for today. Did you complete them? If yes, acknowledge that win. Let your brain register the accomplishment. If no, understand why and adjust tomorrow's plan accordingly. Second, review your weekly target. Where are you relative to where you need to be? Are you ahead, on track, or behind? This weekly awareness prevents you from waking up on Friday realizing you are hopelessly behind. Third, identify your 3 tasks for tomorrow. Write them down. Be specific. Make them measurable. Know exactly what done looks like for each one. Fourth, identify your single most important task. Of the 3, which one would make the biggest difference? That task goes first tomorrow morning. Before email, before meetings, before anything else steals your focus. This evening ritual takes less than 10 minutes, but transforms your effectiveness. You start each day with clarity instead of confusion. You know exactly what matters. You have already made the hard decisions about priorities. All that remains is execution. Here is something critical about your 90-day blueprint. It must be written down, not stored in your head, not vaguely understood. Written. Write your 90-day outcome on paper. Write your monthly milestones. Write your weekly targets. Write your daily tasks. The act of writing creates commitment. It activates the same neurological mechanisms we discussed in Chapter 2. It makes abstract intentions concrete. Review your blueprint every morning before you start work. This keeps your 90-day outcome fresh in your conscious mind. It reminds your subconscious what to look for. It ensures that your daily actions stay connected to your larger purpose. Here is the third insight for this chapter. Your 90-day blueprint must have flexibility built in. Life will not go according to plan. Unexpected obstacles will appear. Circumstances will change. Some tactics will not work. The goal is not rigid adherence to every detail. The goal is consistent progress toward your 90-day outcome. When something does not work, adjust. When an obstacle appears, find a way around it. When circumstances change, adapt your tactics while keeping your strategy intact. Elite performers treat their blueprints as living documents. They review weekly and ask what is working and what is not. They drop tactics that fail and double down on tactics that succeed. They are committed to the outcome, but flexible about the path. Here is your action step for this chapter. Right now, build your 90-day blueprint. Start with your major definite purpose. What 90-day outcome would represent significant progress? Write it down. Make it specific and measurable. Then work backwards. What must be true at the end of month 1, month 2, and month 3? Write down your monthly milestones. Next, break month 1 into weekly targets. What must you accomplish each week to hit your first monthly milestone? Finally, plan tomorrow. What are the 3 tasks you will complete that move you toward your first weekly target? Do this now, not later, not when you have more time. The blueprint you create in the next 15 minutes will determine more about your next 90 days than any amount of thinking, wishing, or hoping. In the next chapter, you are going to confront something uncomfortable. Between where you are and where you want to be, there is an obstacle, a specific challenge that stands in your way. Brian Tracy calls this the limiting step. It is the bottleneck that determines the speed of your progress. It is the constraint that caps your potential. Until you identify and overcome your limiting step, your 90-day blueprint will operate below its full capacity. Your system will be held back by a weak link you may not even recognize. But here is the good news. Once you find your limiting step and break through it, everything accelerates. Progress that felt slow becomes fast. Obstacles that seemed immovable start to crumble. Your 90-day outcome that felt ambitious starts to feel inevitable. You have the blueprint. Now it is time to remove what stands in your way. Chapter 7. Breaking your limiting step. There is a reason you have not achieved your most important goal yet. It is not lack of motivation. It is not lack of time. It is not lack of intelligence or talent or opportunity. There is a specific obstacle standing between you and your goal. A bottleneck that determines the speed of your entire system. A constraint that caps your potential no matter how hard you work on everything else. Brian Tracy calls this the limiting step. And until you identify it and break through it, you will keep hitting the same ceiling over and over again. In this chapter, you're going to learn how to find your limiting step with precision. You're going to understand why working harder on the wrong things keeps you stuck. and you are going to discover the specific strategies for breaking through the constraint that has been holding you back, perhaps for years. Here is a principle from operations management that applies directly to personal achievement. In any system, there is always one constraint that determines the maximum output of the entire system. You can improve everything else, but if you do not address the constraint, the system will not perform any better. Think about a factory assembly line. There are 10 stations. 9 of them can process 100 units per hour, but one station can only process 50 units per hour. What is the maximum output of the entire factory? 50 units per hour. It does not matter that 9 stations have double the capacity. The slowest station determines the speed of everything. Your goal achievement system works the same way. You may have excellent habits. You may have crystal clear goals. You may have a perfect 90-day blueprint. But if there is one limiting step in your system, that step will determine your maximum progress. The question is not whether you have a limiting step. You do. Everyone does. The question is whether you know what it is and whether you are actively working to break through it. Let me give you a framework for identifying your limiting step. Ask yourself this question: what is the one skill, resource, or capability that, if I had it, would make achieving my goal dramatically easier or faster? Be honest with yourself. Dig deep. The answer might be uncomfortable. Maybe your limiting step is a skill you lack. You want to build a business, but you do not know how to sell. You want to advance in your career, but you cannot communicate effectively. You want to write a book, but your writing skills are underdeveloped. Maybe your limiting step is a resource you need. You have the skills, but not the capital. You have the idea, but not the network. You have the ambition, but not the tools. Maybe your limiting step is internal. Fear is holding you back. Self-doubt is capping your potential. Limiting beliefs are creating a ceiling you cannot see but keep hitting. For most people, the limiting step is internal. It lives in the mind, not in external circumstances. This is critical to understand. The major obstacles to success always lie within the mind of the individual. They are not contained in external circumstances or situations or people. By building self-confidence, you win the inner battle. The outer battle seems to take care of itself. Read that again. The major obstacles are internal. When you win the inner battle, the outer battle takes care of itself. This is not positive thinking. This is observable reality. The person who believes they can find a way, finds a way. The person who believes they cannot, proves themselves right. Self-confidence is not a personality trait you either have or do not have. It is a skill you develop through action. Every time you do something difficult and succeed, your self-confidence grows. Every time you face fear and act anyway, your self-confidence grows. Every time you push past your comfort zone and survive, your self-confidence grows. The irony is that building self-confidence requires doing the very things that feel impossible when self-confidence is low. You have to act brave before you feel brave. You have to take risks before you feel ready. You have to believe in yourself before you have evidence that you should. Here is the first elite versus average distinction for this chapter. Average people wait for confidence before they act. They think confidence is a prerequisite for action. They tell themselves they will start when they feel ready, when they believe in themselves more, when the fear goes away. Elite performers understand that confidence comes from action, not before it. They act despite fear. They move forward despite uncertainty. They take risks despite self-doubt. And through that action, they build the confidence that average people are waiting for. This is breaking comfort zones in practice. Your comfort zone is not protecting you. It is imprisoning you. Everything you want is on the other side of that invisible barrier. The life you dream about exists just beyond the boundary of what feels safe. Every time you step outside your comfort zone, you expand it. What felt terrifying becomes merely uncomfortable. What felt uncomfortable becomes normal. What felt normal becomes easy. This is how growth works. This is how confidence builds. This is how limiting steps get shattered. Now let me address a specific type of limiting step that holds millions of people back. It is the gap between what you know and what you do. Most people know what they should do. They know they should exercise. They know they should eat better. They know they should work on their most important tasks first. They know they should save money, read more, practice their skills, have difficult conversations. Knowledge is not the limiting step. Execution is. The gap between knowing and doing is where goals go to die. You can read every book, attend every seminar, and understand every principle. But if you do not consistently execute, you will stay exactly where you are. Here's why this gap exists. Execution requires confronting discomfort. Execution requires doing things that feel hard. Execution requires breaking through resistance every single day. Knowledge feels productive but costs nothing. Execution costs effort, energy, and the willingness to fail. This is why building systems is so important. Systems close the gap between knowing and doing. They make execution automatic rather than optional. They remove the daily decision about whether to act. The system runs regardless of how you feel. But sometimes the limiting step is not a system problem. Sometimes it is a belief problem. And this brings us to something critical. Your implicit beliefs are what lie underneath. They are what you think about in secret, what you think is true about yourself. All of these implicit underlying beliefs cause your habits and your behavior. You may consciously believe you deserve success. But if your implicit belief is that people like you do not succeed, you will sabotage yourself without realizing it. You may consciously want more money. But if your implicit belief is that wealthy people are bad, you will unconsciously push money away. Implicit beliefs operate below the surface of conscious awareness. They are the hidden code that runs your life. And until you identify and reprogram them, they will continue to function as your limiting step. How do you identify implicit beliefs? Look at your results. Your life is a perfect reflection of your beliefs. If you consistently fail in a particular area, there is an implicit belief driving that pattern. If you always seem to hit the same ceiling, there is an implicit belief creating that ceiling. Here is a powerful exercise. Complete these sentences quickly without overthinking. People who are successful are usually blank. Money is blank. I do not deserve blank because blank. Someone like me cannot blank. Your spontaneous answers reveal your implicit beliefs. If your answers are negative, you have identified a limiting step that lives in your mind. Reprogramming implicit beliefs requires repetition and evidence. This is why writing goals in present tense works so powerfully. When you repeatedly write, "I am confident and capable," you are installing new software. When you take action and collect evidence that contradicts your limiting belief, you weaken its grip. Here is the second elite versus average comparison. Average people let their limiting beliefs run unchallenged. They accept their self-image as fixed. They say things like, "I am just not good at that," or "that is just not who I am." They treat their current capabilities as permanent traits rather than current snapshots. Elite performers actively challenge and reprogram their beliefs. They understand that identity is fluid. They know that who they were yesterday does not determine who they can be tomorrow. They deliberately expose themselves to experiences that contradict their limiting beliefs and build new neural pathways. This is identity change at the deepest level. Not just changing what you do, but changing who you believe you are. Now let me give you a practical process for breaking through your limiting step. Step 1. Identify your limiting step with precision. What is the single biggest constraint on your progress? Is it a skill, a resource, or an internal belief? Be specific. Vague problems cannot be solved. Step 2. Make breaking this limiting step your temporary major focus. For the next 30 days, direct significant energy toward this constraint. If your limiting step is a skill, practice it daily. If it is a resource, focus on acquiring it. If it is an internal belief, work on reprogramming it with affirmations, visualization, and contrary evidence. Step 3. Get external help. Every limiting step has been overcome by someone else. Find people who have broken through the same constraint. Learn from them. Hire them. Model them. You do not have to figure this out alone. Step 4. Track your progress weekly. Is the constraint weakening? Are you gaining capability? Is your self-confidence growing? What is working? What is not? Adjust your approach based on results. Step 5. Celebrate breakthroughs. When you make progress on your limiting step, acknowledge it. Let your brain register the win. This reinforces the new behavior and builds momentum for continued growth. Here is something important to understand. Once you break through one limiting step, another will emerge. This is not failure. This is growth. Every system has a constraint. When you eliminate one, the next weakest link becomes the new constraint. Elite performers view this as a continuous improvement process. Break through the current limiting step. Identify the new one. Break through that. Repeat forever. This is how compounding growth works. This is how ordinary people achieve extraordinary results. Here is your action step for this chapter. Right now, identify your single biggest limiting step. Write it down. Be honest and specific. Then answer these questions. What would change if this constraint no longer existed? What have I already tried to overcome it? Who has successfully broken through this same limitation? What specific action can I take in the next 24 hours to begin weakening this constraint? Do not skip this exercise. Your limiting step is the key to unlocking your potential. Everything else you do is operating below capacity until this constraint is addressed. Remember, the major obstacles to success lie within the mind. External challenges exist, but they are rarely what stops you. The beliefs you carry, the fears you nurture, the self-image you maintain. These are the real barriers. Building self-confidence is not optional. It is essential, and you build it the same way you build any capability. Through practice, through repetition, through acting despite fear until fear loses its power. In the next chapter, you are going to learn about the daily rituals that successful people use to maintain their momentum. These are the morning practices, evening routines, and throughout the day habits that keep high performers operating at peak effectiveness. Your 90-day blueprint tells you what to do. Your daily rituals ensure you actually do it. Without rituals, even the best plans collapse under the weight of daily chaos. With rituals, execution becomes automatic and results become predictable. You have identified your limiting step. You have begun the work of breaking through it. Now it is time to build the daily architecture that makes sustained achievement possible. Not through willpower, not through motivation, through ritual, through routine, through the daily disciplines that separate those who achieve from those who merely dream. Chapter 8. Daily Rituals of Achievers. The first 30 minutes of your day determine the next 23 and a half hours. How you start shapes everything that follows. Win the morning, win the day. Lose the morning, and you spend the rest of the day trying to recover. This is not philosophy. This is neuroscience. Your brain is most receptive to programming in the first hour after waking. Your willpower is at its peak. Your cognitive resources are fully recharged. The decisions you make and the actions you take in this window create momentum that carries through everything else. In this chapter, you are going to learn the specific daily rituals that elite performers use to maintain consistent progress toward their goals. You are going to understand why routines beat motivation every single time. And you are going to build a morning practice and evening practice that transforms achievement from struggle into habit. Here is a truth that took me years to understand. Successful people are not more disciplined than everyone else. They just have better rituals. They have designed their days so that the right actions happen automatically. They do not rely on willpower because willpower is unreliable. They rely on routine because routine is dependable. Daily rituals remove decision fatigue. Every decision you make depletes your mental energy. By the end of a day filled with choices, your brain is exhausted. You default to whatever is easy, comfortable, and familiar. This is why people abandon their goals in the evening. Not because they lack commitment, because they lack energy. When your most important behaviors are ritualized, they no longer require decisions. You do not decide whether to exercise. You exercise because it is 6 in the morning, and that is what you do at 6 in the morning. You do not decide whether to write your goals. You write them because that is part of your morning ritual. The ritual decides. You just execute. Let me walk you through the morning ritual framework that has transformed the lives of millions of high performers. The first element is waking with intention. Do not reach for your phone. Do not check email. Do not scroll social media. The moment you engage with external inputs, you hand control of your mental state to other people. Their priorities become your priorities. Their emergencies become your emergencies. Their agenda hijacks your day before it even begins. Instead, Spend the first few minutes in deliberate stillness. Take 5 deep breaths. Feel gratitude for another day of opportunity. Set an intention for how you want to show up. This simple practice creates a buffer between sleep and the chaos of the world. It gives you ownership of your mental state before external forces try to claim it. The second element is goal reinforcement. This is where you write your goals. Every single morning. Not review them. Write them. From memory. Take out a fresh piece of paper or open a blank document. Write your major definite purpose in present tense as if it has already been achieved. Write your 90-day outcome. Write your 3 most important tasks for today. This daily writing practice does something powerful. It keeps your goals at the forefront of your conscious mind. It sends repeated signals to your subconscious about what matters. It creates daily alignment between your actions and your aspirations. Daily alignment means that what you do today connects directly to what you want to achieve ultimately. Without this alignment, days slip by filled with activity but empty of progress. With alignment, every day moves you measurably closer to your destination. The third element is physical activation. Your body and mind are connected in ways most people underestimate. Physical movement changes your mental state instantly. It floods your brain with endorphins, increases blood flow, and shifts you from groggy to alert. This does not require a 2-hour gym session. 10 minutes is enough. 20 minutes is better. A walk, some stretching, basic exercises, whatever gets your body moving. The goal is activation, not exhaustion. Elite performers understand that energy creates motivation, not the other way around. You do not wait to feel energized before you move. You move, and energy follows. You do not wait to feel motivated before you exercise. You exercise, and motivation appears. Here is the first elite versus average distinction for this chapter. Average people let their morning happen to them. They wake up at the last possible minute. They rush through getting ready. They check their phone immediately and let the world's demands flood their mind. They arrive at work already reactive, already behind, already stressed. Elite performers design their morning with precision. They wake before they need to. They follow a consistent sequence of rituals that prepares them mentally, physically, and emotionally. They protect the first hours of their day from interruption and distraction. They arrive at work proactive, focused, and ready to execute. The difference in outcomes over a year is staggering. The average person starts each day in reaction mode, fighting to catch up. The elite performer starts each day in creation mode, building momentum before others are awake. Now let me share the evening ritual that is equally important but often overlooked. How you end your day determines how you start tomorrow. If you go to bed with your mind racing, thinking about unfinished tasks and tomorrow's problems, you will sleep poorly and wake exhausted. If you end your day with deliberate closure, you will sleep deeply and wake refreshed. The evening ritual has 3 components. First, review and celebrate your wins. Before you close your workday, ask yourself what you accomplished. What tasks did you complete? What progress did you make? What small wins deserve acknowledgement? Most people focus on what they did not finish. They go to bed thinking about their failures and shortcomings. This programs their subconscious with negativity and creates anxiety that disrupts sleep. Elite performers focus on what they did accomplish. They train their brain to notice progress. They end each day with a sense of completion rather than a sense of inadequacy. This positive mental state carries into sleep and creates a foundation for the next morning. Second, plan tomorrow. We covered this in the last chapter, but it bears repeating. Identify your 3 most important tasks for tomorrow. Write them down. Know exactly what you will accomplish before you start. When your next day is planned, your subconscious can truly rest. It does not need to keep churning through possibilities and priorities. The decisions are made. The path is clear. You can release the day and enter sleep with genuine peace. Third, disconnect deliberately. Choose a specific time when you stop working. Not when work is finished, because work is never finished. Choose a time and honor it. Close your laptop. Put away your phone. Create a clear boundary between work time and rest time. This boundary is not about laziness. It is about sustainability. You cannot operate at peak intensity indefinitely. Rest is not the opposite of productivity. Rest is what makes productivity possible. The person who works 18 hours today and burns out next week accomplishes less than the person who works focused hours consistently for months. Here is the second elite versus average comparison. Average people have no clear boundary between work and rest. They check email in bed. They think about work problems during family time. They never fully rest because they never fully disconnect. Their work expands to fill all available time, but the quality degrades as exhaustion accumulates. Elite performers protect their recovery with the same intensity they protect their work. They know that sustainable patterns beat heroic efforts. They understand that rest is not a reward for finishing work. Rest is a requirement for doing great work. They deliberately disconnect so they can deliberately reconnect tomorrow at full capacity. This is the difference between sustainable patterns and burnout. Sustainable patterns can be maintained indefinitely. They produce compounding results over years and decades. Burnout produces short bursts of output followed by collapse and recovery. Over any meaningful time horizon, sustainable patterns win by a massive margin. Now let me share the throughout-the-day rituals that maintain momentum between morning and evening. First, protect your peak hours. You have a window each day when your cognitive function is at its highest. For most people, this is the first few hours after fully waking. Identify your peak hours and guard them ruthlessly. During peak hours, work only on your most important tasks. No email, no meetings, no administrative work, no easy tasks that make you feel productive but do not move you forward. Save those for your low-energy hours. Use your peak capacity for peak priorities. Second, take strategic breaks. Your brain cannot maintain focused concentration indefinitely. Research suggests that 50 to 90 minutes of focused work followed by a short break produces optimal results. During breaks, step away from your work. Move your body. Rest your eyes. Let your mind wander. These breaks are not wasted time. They are investment time. Your subconscious continues processing problems while your conscious mind rests. Some of your best insights will arrive during breaks, not during work sessions. Third, use transition rituals. When you move between tasks or contexts, take 30 seconds to close the previous activity and open the next. Take a breath. Clear your mind. Set an intention for the upcoming work. This brief ritual prevents mental residue from one task contaminating your focus on the next. Here is something critical about daily rituals. Consistency matters more than intensity. A moderate ritual performed every day produces far greater results than an intense ritual performed occasionally. Consistent habits compound over time. Each day builds on the previous day. Each week builds on the previous week. Small actions repeated relentlessly create massive results that sporadic heroic efforts can never match. This is why daily alignment is so powerful. When your daily rituals are aligned with your major definite purpose, every day makes you stronger. Every day moves you forward. Every day reinforces your identity as someone who achieves goals. Let me give you a specific morning ritual template you can implement tomorrow. Wake 30 minutes earlier than you currently do. Use this time for yourself before the world demands your attention. Minutes 1 through 5. Stay in bed with your eyes closed. Take 10 deep breaths. Feel gratitude for another day. Set an intention for how you want to feel and what you want to accomplish. Minutes 6 through 10. Get up. Drink a full glass of water. Your body is dehydrated after sleep. Hydration improves cognitive function immediately. Minutes 11 through 20. Physical movement. Whatever works for you. Stretching, walking, exercise, yoga. Get your blood flowing and your body activated. Minutes 21 through 30. Goal writing. Take out paper and write your major definite purpose, your 90-day outcome, and your 3 most important tasks for today. Write in present tense. Write with intention. That is it. 30 minutes. No complexity. No special equipment. No extensive preparation. Just a simple sequence of rituals that prepares you to win the day. Here is your action step for this chapter. Tonight, before you sleep, set your alarm 30 minutes earlier than usual. When it goes off tomorrow, do not negotiate. Do not snooze. Get up and execute the 30-minute morning ritual exactly as described. Do this for 7 days without exception. By the end of the week, you will have experienced the difference. You will have felt what it means to start the day in control rather than in chaos. You will have evidence that rituals work. Then build from there. Add your evening ritual. Refine your peak hours. Install transition rituals. Layer habit upon habit until your entire day is designed for achievement. Remember, you do not rise to the level of your dreams. You fall to the level of your system. Your daily rituals are your system. They determine what you actually do when motivation fades, when life gets hard, when you do not feel like showing up. Build rituals that make success inevitable. Build patterns that feel natural, not forced. Build a daily architecture that serves your major definite purpose, whether you feel like it or not. In the next chapter, you're going to learn about the most powerful goal achievement tool that exists. It operates while you sleep. It works 24 hours a day without rest. It notices opportunities you consciously miss. It generates solutions you could never think up deliberately. This tool is your subconscious mind. And when you learn how to program it correctly, you gain an ally that makes achieving your goals feel almost effortless. Not because the work disappears, but because the work starts to feel natural. Because obstacles that stopped others do not stop you. Because the right actions become obvious instead of obscure. You have built your rituals. Now it is time to unlock the full power of your mind. Chapter 9. The Subconscious Mind Hack. Your conscious mind can process approximately 40 bits of information per second. Your subconscious mind can process 11 million bits per second. That is not a typo. 11 million versus 40. Your subconscious is processing information 275,000 times faster than your conscious awareness can comprehend. Right now, while you are listening to these words, your subconscious is monitoring your heart rate, regulating your breathing, maintaining your body temperature, filtering sensory inputs, storing memories, and running thousands of background processes you will never consciously notice. And here is what makes this relevant to your goals. Your subconscious mind can be programmed. You can direct this massive processing power toward achieving your objectives. You can turn this invisible engine into your most powerful ally. In this chapter, you're going to learn exactly how to program your subconscious mind for goal achievement. You are going to understand why certain techniques work at a neurological level while others fail. And you are going to discover the specific daily practices that harness the full power of your mental operating system. Most people work against their subconscious instead of with it. They consciously want success, but subconsciously expect failure. They consciously set goals, but subconsciously believe they are not the type of person who achieves goals. This internal conflict creates friction that makes progress exhausting and inconsistent. When your conscious intentions and subconscious programming are aligned, everything changes. Progress feels natural instead of forced. Opportunities appear that you would have missed before. Solutions emerge that you could not have generated through deliberate thought alone. Your entire life starts moving in the direction of your goals. Here is the first key to programming your subconscious. Write your goals in the present tense as if your goal had already been achieved. Do not write what you want to have. Write what you have. Do not write what you want to become. Write what you are. Why does this matter so much? Because your subconscious mind can only register commands that are phrased in the present tense. When you write, "I will be wealthy," your subconscious hears, "not wealthy now," and accepts that as the current reality to maintain. When you write, "I am wealthy," your subconscious hears a statement about current reality and begins working to make external circumstances match that internal programming. This is not magical thinking. This is how the brain actually functions. Your subconscious mind does not distinguish clearly between vividly imagined experiences and real experiences. Brain scans show that the same neural pathways activate whether you physically perform an action or vividly imagine performing it. This is why visualization works. This is why present tense goal writing works. You are creating neural patterns that your subconscious accepts as real. Let me give you examples of the difference. Future tense. I want to lose 30 pounds. I will be confident. I am going to earn $100,000. Present tense. I weigh 170 pounds and feel healthy and strong. I am confident and capable in every situation. I earn $100,000 annually doing work I love. The future tense statements feel like wishes. The present tense statements feel like facts. Your subconscious responds accordingly. Here is the first elite versus average distinction for this chapter. Average people set goals and hope they come true. They write what they want in the future and wait for circumstances to change. When reality does not match their wishes, they get discouraged and conclude that goal setting does not work. Elite performers program their subconscious deliberately. They write goals in present tense. They visualize achievement daily. They speak about their goals as if success is certain. They understand that the subconscious mind responds to commands, not wishes. They give commands. This is neurological focus at the highest level. When your subconscious is programmed with a clear present tense goal, it activates your reticular activating system. This is the part of your brain that filters the 11 million bits of information down to the 40 bits that reach your conscious awareness. Your reticular activating system decides what you notice and what you ignore. Program it with a clear goal, and it starts noticing everything relevant to that goal. Opportunities you would have walked past, resources you would have overlooked, connections you would have missed, people who can help you, ideas that solve your problems. Have you ever learned a new word and then suddenly heard it everywhere? The word was always being used. Your brain just was not tuned to notice it. The same phenomenon applies to opportunities. They exist all around you right now. Your brain is simply not programmed to see them. Present tense goal writing changes the programming. Now let me address something deeper. Your subconscious programming is not just about goals you consciously set. It includes the vast network of beliefs you have accumulated over your lifetime. And many of these beliefs are working against you without your awareness. Your implicit beliefs are what lie underneath. They are what you think about in secret, what you think is true about yourself. All of these implicit underlying beliefs cause your habits and your behavior. You may have consciously set a goal to earn more money. But if your implicit belief is that making money requires sacrificing your health or relationships, you will sabotage yourself. You may have consciously decided to be more confident. But if your implicit belief is that you are fundamentally inadequate, confidence will feel like a performance you cannot sustain. Implicit beliefs form early in life, often before you had the capacity to evaluate them critically. They come from parents, teachers, early experiences, cultural messages, and interpretations you made about events that happened to you. Once formed, they run in the background like invisible code, shaping your perceptions, decisions, and behaviors. The problem is not that you have implicit beliefs. Everyone does. The problem is that most people never examine them. They never bring them into conscious awareness where they can be questioned, challenged, and reprogrammed. Here is how to identify your implicit beliefs. Look at your results. Your life is a printout of your programming. Areas where you consistently succeed reveal supportive beliefs. Areas where you consistently struggle reveal limiting beliefs. Ask yourself probing questions. What do I believe about people who have what I want? What do I believe about myself when I imagine having achieved my goal? What fears come up when I think about success? What would I have to give up to get what I want? Your spontaneous answers reveal your implicit programming. Pay attention to the beliefs that feel true but produce results you do not want. Those are the beliefs that need to be reprogrammed. The second elite versus average comparison in this chapter is about how people handle limiting beliefs. Average people accept their limiting beliefs as facts. They say things like, "I am just not good with money," or "people like me do not get opportunities like that." They treat their current self-concept as permanent and organize their life around its limitations. Elite performers treat limiting beliefs as outdated software that can be updated. They understand that a belief they formed at age 7 does not have to run their life at age 37. They deliberately install new beliefs through repetition, evidence, and experience. They refuse to let the past program the future. This brings us to the practical methods for reprogramming your subconscious mind. Method 1. Daily goal writing in present tense. We have covered this already, but it bears emphasis. Write your major goals every morning in present tense as if already achieved. The repetition matters. Each time you write, you reinforce the neural pathway. Each time you reinforce, the belief grows stronger. Over weeks and months, the goal becomes part of your identity. Method 2. Visualization with emotion. Your subconscious responds powerfully to imagery combined with emotion. Spend 5 minutes each day vividly imagining your goal achieved. Do not just see it. Feel it. What emotions do you experience? What does your body feel like? What sounds do you hear? What do you say to yourself? The more vivid and emotional the visualization, the more your subconscious accepts it as real. The more your subconscious accepts it as real, the more it works to create that reality. Method 3. Affirmations that challenge limiting beliefs. Identify a specific limiting belief that is blocking your progress. Create an affirmation that directly contradicts it. Repeat this affirmation multiple times daily, especially during your morning ritual and before sleep when your subconscious is most receptive. If your limiting belief is, "I am not smart enough," your affirmation might be, "I am intelligent and capable of learning anything I need to know." If your limiting belief is, "I do not deserve success," your affirmation might be, "I deserve success and I create value for others through my work." At first, affirmations may feel false. That is normal. Your subconscious is resisting the new programming. Continue anyway. Repetition overcomes resistance. Eventually, the new belief begins to feel true. When it feels true, your behavior automatically changes to match. Method 4. Collect contrary evidence. Your subconscious believes what it has evidence for. If you want to install a new belief, actively collect evidence that supports it. Want to believe you are capable of success? Write down every success you have ever had, no matter how small. Review this list regularly. Your subconscious will begin to see success as part of your identity. Want to believe opportunities are available to you? Write down every opportunity that has appeared in your life. Notice new opportunities as they arise and add them to your list. Your subconscious will begin to see you as someone who attracts opportunities. Evidence trumps repetition. An affirmation repeated 1,000 times cannot compete with a single vivid experience that contradicts it. But an affirmation supported by collected evidence becomes nearly unshakable. Method 5. Control your mental environment. Your subconscious absorbs information from your environment constantly. The media you consume, the people you spend time with, the conversations you participate in, all of these shape your programming. If you spend hours consuming negative news, your subconscious absorbs negativity. If you spend time with people who complain and blame, your subconscious absorbs those patterns. If you surround yourself with messages of limitation, your subconscious accepts limitation as normal. Elite performers curate their mental environment deliberately. They consume content that reinforces the beliefs they want to hold. They spend time with people who embody the success they want to achieve. They protect their subconscious from inputs that conflict with their programming. This is mental clarity applied to environment. Knowing what to let in, knowing what to keep out, designing your inputs to support your outcomes. Here is something powerful about subconscious programming. It operates while you sleep. The thoughts you hold as you drift off continue to be processed throughout the night. This is why reviewing your goals and visualizing achievement before sleep is so effective. You give your subconscious 8 hours to work on your objectives without interference from conscious doubt. Many people report waking with solutions to problems they could not solve consciously. This is your subconscious delivering results. It processes information in ways your conscious mind cannot. It makes connections across vast networks of stored knowledge. It generates insights that seem to appear from nowhere. When you program your subconscious correctly, these insights appear more frequently. They appear more relevant to your goals. They appear when you need them most. This is not luck. This is engineering. You have directed your mental supercomputer toward specific outcomes, and it is delivering. Here is your action step for this chapter. Tonight, before you sleep, write your major definite purpose in present tense on a piece of paper. Read it aloud 3 times with conviction. Then close your eyes and spend 3 minutes vividly visualizing that goal achieved. See it, feel it, experience it as if it has already happened. Do this every night for the next 30 days. Pay attention to what changes. Notice the ideas that appear. Notice the opportunities that emerge. Notice how your confidence shifts as your subconscious accepts the programming. This practice takes less than 5 minutes. But those 5 minutes, repeated nightly, will reshape your mental operating system. They will align your subconscious power with your conscious intentions. They will turn the 11 million bits per second into an engine driving you toward your goals. You have learned the techniques. You have understood the science. You have built the rituals. Now there is only one thing left. In the final chapter, you are going to bring everything together. You are going to create a complete integrated system for unstoppable goal achievement. You are going to understand how clarity, action, and tracking combine into a self-reinforcing cycle that makes success inevitable rather than uncertain. You have come far. You have transformed your understanding of what is possible. But understanding is not enough. Implementation is everything. The final chapter will ensure that everything you have learned becomes a permanent part of how you operate. Not something you tried once. Something you live forever. Your unstoppable future is waiting. Let us go claim it. Chapter 10. Your unstoppable future. You are not the same person who started this audiobook. Something has shifted. The way you think about goals, about systems, about yourself. Everything is different now. And what happens next will determine whether this transformation becomes permanent or fades like every other insight you have ever had. In this final chapter, you are going to integrate everything you have learned into a complete goal achievement process. You are going to understand how all the pieces fit together into one unified system. And you are going to make a commitment that will separate you forever from the 97% who dream about success and the 3% who actually achieve it. Let me take you back to where we started. You learned that 97% of people never achieve their most important goals. Not because they lack talent or opportunity, because they lack a system. They have wishes instead of written goals. They have motivation instead of rituals. They have interest instead of commitment. You are no longer one of them. You now understand the hidden truth about goals. Goals sound nice, but they do not hold you up when you are tired, stressed, or overwhelmed. Systems do. A good system makes your life easier. It helps you move forward without having to think about it every minute. You do not rise to the level of your dreams. You fall to the level of your system. You have learned the power of written goals. Writing activates your subconscious mind. It programs your reticular activating system to notice opportunities. It transforms vague wishes into concrete commands that your brain works on 24 hours a day. You write your goals in present tense because your subconscious mind can only register commands phrased in the present tense. You have escaped someday out. You understand the difference between interest and commitment. If you are interested, you do what is convenient. If you are committed, you do whatever is required. You have voted yourself off the island. No more someday. Only today. You have identified your major definite purpose. You know that single focus is the ultimate competitive advantage. The key to success is single focus. If you can focus, you can do anything. You have stopped spreading your energy across a dozen objectives and concentrated it on the one goal that matters most. You have embraced systems over goals. You understand that your habits are the most honest measure of who you are becoming. You have designed habit loops with triggers, routines, and rewards. You have built sustainable patterns that operate whether you feel motivated or not. You know that change does not come from wanting something new. It comes from doing something new. You have created your 90-day blueprint. You have monthly milestones, weekly targets, and daily actions. You understand that every single goal you want to achieve has strategies, tactics, and a process you can follow. You know that all of success in life is task completion, and you have built a daily planning practice that ensures you complete the tasks that matter. You have identified your limiting step. You understand that the major obstacles to success always lie within the mind of the individual. You are actively working to break through the constraint that has been holding you back. You are building self-confidence through action, not waiting for confidence before you act. You have installed daily rituals. You have a morning practice that prepares you to win the day. You have an evening practice that closes the day with intention. You have protected your peak hours for your peak priorities. You have built the architecture of achievement into your daily life. You have programmed your subconscious mind. You write your goals in present tense. You visualize achievement with emotion. You challenge limiting beliefs with affirmations and contrary evidence. You have aligned your conscious intentions with your subconscious programming. All of these pieces connect into one unified system, and that system has a simple formula at its core: clarity, action, tracking. Clarity means knowing exactly what you want, your major definite purpose, your 90-day outcome, your monthly milestones, your weekly targets, your daily tasks. From the highest level vision down to the specific action you will take in the next hour, clarity eliminates confusion and creates focus. Action means executing daily regardless of circumstances. Your morning ritual, your 3 most important tasks, your system running whether you feel like it or not. Action over motivation, process over outcome, behavior over talk. You do not get what you want by talking about it. You get what you want by proving it through your behavior. Tracking means measuring progress and adjusting course. Weekly reviews of your 90-day blueprint. Daily assessment of task completion. Honest evaluation of what is working and what is not. Tracking keeps you accountable when no one else is watching. It provides the feedback loop that allows continuous improvement. Clarity without action is dreaming. Action without clarity is wandering. Clarity and action without tracking is hoping. But clarity plus action plus tracking equals achievement. Predictable, reliable, inevitable achievement. Here is the first elite versus average distinction for this final chapter. Average people learn new information and feel inspired temporarily. They experience a surge of motivation that fades within days. They return to their old patterns and wonder why nothing ever changes. They consume more content, hoping the next book or seminar will finally be the one that transforms them. Elite performers learn new information and immediately implement it. They understand that knowledge without action is worthless. They do not wait for the perfect moment. They act now, adjust later. They know that there is a direct relationship between how quickly a person takes action on a new idea and how likely it is they will ever take action on any idea at all. This brings us to the most important question of this entire audiobook. What will you do with what you have learned? You have 2 choices. You can treat this as interesting information that joins all the other interesting information you have consumed, or you can treat this as a turning point, a moment where you stop being someone who learns about success and became someone who creates it. The difference is action, immediate action, not tomorrow, not next week, now. Here is the commitment I am asking you to make. 90 days. Give this system 90 days of genuine implementation, not half-hearted effort, not occasional application. Full commitment for 90 days. During these 90 days, you will write your goals every morning in present tense. You will execute your morning ritual without exception. You will complete your 3 most important tasks daily. You will review your progress weekly. You will protect your peak hours. You will track everything. 90 days is long enough to build unshakable habits, long enough to achieve meaningful progress toward your major definite purpose, long enough to prove to yourself that this system works. It is also short enough to maintain commitment. You are not signing up for a lifetime. You are committing to 1 quarter. 90 days of focus, 90 days of execution, 90 days of becoming someone new. At the end of those 90 days, you will not need motivation to continue. The results will motivate you. The habits will be automatic. The identity shift will be complete. You will not be someone trying to achieve goals. You will be someone who achieves goals. That is who you will have become. Here is the second elite versus average comparison. Average people see identity as fixed. They say that is just who I am and organize their life around their perceived limitations. They believe they are stuck with the personality, habits, and capabilities they currently have. Elite performers see identity as fluid. They understand that identity is simply the story you tell yourself about yourself. Change the story, change the identity. Change the identity, change the behavior. Change the behavior, change the results. They deliberately construct the identity of the person they want to become and then act in accordance with that identity until it becomes real. This is identity change at its deepest level. You are not just adopting new behaviors. You are becoming a new person. The person who achieves your major definite purpose is not a future version of you. It is a version of you that you can start being right now. Ask yourself this question. What would the person who has already achieved my goal do today? How would they spend their morning? What tasks would they prioritize? How would they handle obstacles? What would they refuse to tolerate? Then do those things. Act as if you are already that person. This is not pretending. This is programming. Every action aligned with your new identity is a vote for becoming that person. Cast enough votes, and the election is won. Let me share something about what happens after you commit to this system. The first week will feel difficult. You are building new neural pathways. You are fighting old patterns. You are establishing rituals that do not yet feel natural. This difficulty is not a sign that the system is wrong. It is a sign that the system is working. Discomfort means growth. The second and third weeks will feel easier. The morning ritual starts to become automatic. The goal writing feels less forced. The 3 daily tasks become a rhythm you look forward to. You start to notice opportunities appearing. Ideas emerge in unexpected moments. Progress becomes visible. By the end of the first month, something remarkable happens. You start to see yourself differently. The identity shift begins. You are no longer someone trying to build new habits. You are someone who has new habits. The question is no longer whether you will do your morning ritual. Of course you will. That is what you do. By the end of 90 days, the transformation is complete. Not the achievement of your ultimate goal, necessarily, but the transformation of who you are. You have become someone with clarity, discipline, and systems. You have become someone who achieves goals. Whatever specific outcome you were pursuing, you are dramatically closer. And you have built the capability to achieve anything else you set your mind to. This is the real prize, not the specific goal, the capability. Once you have proven to yourself that you can set a goal and systematically achieve it, you can do it again, and again, and again. The first achievement opens the door to unlimited achievement. Here is your final action step. Right now, before you do anything else, take out a piece of paper or open a document. Write down your major definite purpose in present tense. Write your 90-day outcome. Write your first month milestone. Write your first week target. Write your 3 tasks for tomorrow. Then commit. Say it out loud. I commit to executing this system fully for the next 90 days. I commit to writing my goals every morning. I commit to completing my 3 most important tasks daily. I commit to reviewing my progress weekly. I commit to becoming the person who achieves this goal. This commitment is between you and yourself. No one else needs to know. No one else needs to hold you accountable. You hold yourself accountable. That is what people with self-confidence do. That is what people who achieve their goals do. That is who you are now. Remember what you have learned. Small wins compound into massive results. Consistent habits beat occasional heroic efforts. The process matters more than the outcome. The system matters more than the goal. The person you become matters more than the things you achieve. Build patterns that feel natural, not forced. Start small enough that resistance is minimal. Stack new habits onto existing anchors. Let the system run daily until it becomes automatic. Trust the process even when results are not immediately visible. Focus only on today. What can you take care of today? Not tomorrow. Not next week. Today. The person who wins is not the person with the best plan. It is the person who executes best today, then does the same tomorrow, then the day after that. String enough good days together, and you will look up to find you have built an extraordinary life. You have everything you need. The knowledge is complete. The system is clear. The framework is proven. Millions of people have used these principles to transform their lives. Now it is your turn. Start with your next move. Ask yourself, what does a better life require from me right now? Whatever answer comes to mind, do it. Do not analyze. Do not delay. Do not wait for a better moment. The better moment is now. The path from where you are to where you want to be is not a mystery. It is a system, clarity, action, tracking, written goals, daily rituals, 90-day blueprints, breaking limiting steps, programming your subconscious, single focus on your major definite purpose. You know what to do. The only question is whether you will do it. And here's what I know about you. You have listened to this entire audiobook. You have invested your time in learning these principles. You are not someone who consumes information passively. You are someone who takes action. So take action. Right now. Today. This moment. Your unstoppable future is not something that happens to you. It is something you create. One written goal at a time. One completed task at a time. One morning ritual at a time. One day at a time. The 97% are still dreaming. The 3% are executing. You know which group you belong to now. Go prove it. I would love to know what you thought of this audiobook. What was your favorite chapter and why? What lesson resonated most deeply? What principle are you going to implement immediately? Please leave your thoughts in the comments below. Your feedback helps others discover this content, and your commitment stated publicly strengthens your own resolve. This is not the end. This is the beginning of a new way of operating, the beginning of a new identity, the beginning of your unstoppable future. You have the system. You have the knowledge. You have the commitment. Now go achieve what you were born to achieve.